So good afternoon. It's actually quite warm for October. I think it's something like 15, 16 degrees, if not a bit warmer. I think tomorrow it's supposed to be 18, but cloudy. So I couldn't find the bag of screws I misplaced, so I bought some more. So I'm gonna try and finish fixing the last of the beds, because last time I ended up making some beds for another pot holder. So yeah, it'd be great if I could just finish that DIY job, because then it gets the bits of wood properly out the way, because then they'll all be used. I mean, there's always some weeding and some clearing of beds to do, because like the sweet corn plants that are finished. But we'll see what I can fit in this afternoon. So this is the bit of the bed I need to work on. The lower bit of wood here came out, so I need to reattach it, which is why there's mud, scraped, because I had to scrape out sufficient to then be able to put another piece of wood in there. And I'm building up this end one slightly more, because the squirrels dig in the wood chips and knock them onto the paths, and it makes a big mess. So I want to make the edge just a little bit higher. Let's see how this goes. So of course the screws that I'd lost, the bag of them, they were staring me in the face. Let me show you where I've just noticed them. I've been working on this parsnip bed, and literally on the chair next to it was the bag of screws, and it was there all along. What am I like? I'm always misplacing stuff on the plot. Oh well. The screws I brought today were longer, of a different size, so everything should get used eventually, even if it takes a couple of years. It's as soon as you buy new, replace what you've lost, then you find it. It's always the case. What do you lose on the plot? I love it when you accidentally cut something the perfect length. That's going up to the fence there, and it perfectly lines up with here. Yay! No more extra cuts, because there's a join about halfway down the middle. So even the extra piece of wood I put along there was exactly the right length, so I didn't need to cut it. I haven't screwed them in because I can't get to it. So what I want to do is, I've got some bags of manure here. I want to basically top up what's in the greenhouse, because what's in the greenhouse is compost, but plot made compost. So I want to give the soil a boost. So one, it'll get it out of the way here, and two, it's the first load out the way, so then I know I've got room to go and get more from my sister-in-law's horses, and then I can gradually fill up each bed and let the weather get to it over the winter. Well, that's what my plan is, because the top two beds by the next to the greenhouse, not in front of it, the other side, I can't do a little bit more work on making those beds slightly higher until I've harvested my squash, because the plants are in the way. So those will have to wait. So let's get on with the greenhouse. So my task is to rip out all of these basil that's gone to seed, and then I can top up with the manure bags. Actually, I think I might pull back some of the soil and put the manure, you know, lower down, and then most of the compost on top. But we'll see how it works. So early on in the year, when I took, well, I say earlier on in the year, a month or so ago when I took the tomatoes out, I left the pepper plants in, picked what I could. But since then, because I've finished the glazing, they're absolutely loving it in here. So I have a couple of big peppers. Unfortunately, they both got a hole in, but you know, I'll see how long they grow for. So I've weeded that much. I think what I might try and do is moved some of this compost over to this corner to fill it up there, so that I can maybe sow some carrots in there, and then the rest of it can have more of the manure. I'm going to see if I can actually grow anything in here over winter. Don't know if it'll work, but it's worth a try. So earlier I pulled out all of that basil that had gone to flower. This one hasn't quite, it's trying to produce a flower, so I'm going to cut it down shorter to see if I can keep the basil going for longer. It's worth an experiment. I've cut it down shorter. We'll see how long we can keep it going for. Whoa, it was warm in there. Hot and sweaty. Well, let me show you the progress so far. Here, I've shifted soil just for this third. So it's almost full there. So I'm hoping to try and sow some carrots there. And then the rest of it, I'm going to top up with the manure. I may mix it in. We'll see how it goes. Well, I used these 7 bags. I say bags, I was reusing compost bags. So they're about half, I say half full. Of course, when you buy the compost in the shops, it's kind of nice and flat. So it's probably about the same literage. But 7 bags, 2 flexi tubs. And let me show you how much is done in the greenhouse. Done. Just about half. That was quite a lot of manure. So the soil level, on my own compost, was a bit lower than that level. So yeah, it only filled up that. So I've still got to fill up up to there. And of course, every bed on the plot could do with some, including the pots. When you see it from this angle, and see how deep the bed is, that's actually quite a bit of compost. Okay, the first third is probably the homemade compost, and then the top 2 thirds is now manure. But I'm glad I don't have to pay for it. This is why I have my slate labels as well. There's winter savoury label, marjoram and stevia. Well, winter savoury's there, marjoram is over there, and stevia is over there. So there's either squirrels or rats or birds moving the labels, and that is quite a regular occurrence, especially with the little white plastic labels you can buy. So that's why I've switched to the big slate ones. They don't move those. Oh, yet another courgette. Can't be too much longer for them. Once the weather goes cold, they'll stop. But for now, the little rain we had, not last night, the night before, they're liking it. Well, this oak sapling, which the squirrels planted, at least last winter, into the bark chippings, it's still growing. What I might do is transplant it into a pot and see how it goes. Obviously, I'm not going to plant it on my plot, but there's no harm in growing it in a pot. Well, it's 3:30 now, and I've got done what I can. I wanted to staple some netting on the outside far right of the greenhouse, so that when I trim the side path, nothing accidentally breaks the glass. But what I brought down, I brought a staple gun, and what I thought was staples, but it wasn't, it was nails. So I need to search out my other staple gun that actually has staples and not nails. But I figure that should protect the glass. It won't necessarily be a permanent thing on there, but I think it's a good idea. Oh well, I'll have to do it another day. So I'm off home now. Bye for now.